Have you ever stepped into a home and instantly felt your heart lighten? Not because of expensive furniture or perfect organization, but simply because of the scent. A soft, subtle fragrance, nothing overwhelming, yet it gently whispers, "This place is truly lived in." Many of us have come to believe that a fragrant home requires more purchases, more candles, more essential oils, more sprays. But the truth is, in a place halfway across the world, there are people who have lived their entire lives in homes that never used artificial fragrance. And yet, those homes still carry a scent that is fresh, distinct, and full of memory. In Japan, they call it the scent of presence. Every small habit contributes to making a house not just clean, but breathing. And the most beautiful part? These habits cost nothing, require no extra energy, just the willingness to begin. In today's video from Senior Rise, you'll meet a Japanese woman named Sachiko Mori, 78 years old, now living in San Jose, California. Her story about how a woman in her late 70s, living alone, keeps her home smelling like spring, will reveal 7 surprising yet deeply meaningful habits. Be sure to stay until the end to discover habit number 7, the one that helped Sachiko feel a little less alone and made sure her home never fell asleep. If you've ever felt something similar, I invite you to leave a comment as you watch. And if this is your first time visiting Senior Rise, don't forget to subscribe so we can continue walking together each week, living more gently and meaningfully, one breath at a time. Habit number 1. Fragrance from the earth. No chemicals needed. When Sachiko Mori turned 70, she no longer felt drawn to buying air fresheners like she did when she was younger. One afternoon, while tidying up an old kitchen drawer, she realized she had been living among so many smells. The scent of aging plastic containers, the lingering trace of old meals, the musty air clinging to clothes she hadn't worn in years. And none of it said anything about who she truly was. She thought back to her mother's tiny home in Kyoto, a place that always smelled faintly of dried grass, citrus peels, and tatami mats. There was nothing fancy about it, but it was comforting, like her mother's arms. From that day on, Sachiko made a quiet change. Instead of using chemical sprays, she began saving orange peels after eating. She laid them out to dry on a kitchen towel, then placed them in a small bowl on the windowsill. Sometimes she would simmer a pot of water with a few slices of dried ginger, a pinch of cinnamon, and a curl of citrus peel, letting that gentle scent weave through the air like a soft hello. She wasn't trying to make her house smell good. She was simply allowing it to return to its natural scent, the smell of warm rice, aged wood, steeped tea. One day, her granddaughter stopped by unannounced. As she stepped through the door, she looked up and smiled. "Grandma, your house always smells like calm." Sachiko just smiled, saying nothing. But inside, her heart warmed, because she knew that scent didn't come from any product. It came from habits rooted in care and quiet love. Have you ever felt that way too? A scent that took you back to someone, someplace, or a feeling of safety you forgot you needed? If you have, share it in the comments below. That scent might still be waiting for you, in your kitchen, in an old drawer, or in a memory you never quite let go of. Habit number 2. Drying under the sky, letting the sun complete the clean. In San Jose, the weather is warm year-round, perfect for drying clothes outdoors. But not many people keep that habit anymore. Most use the dryer. It's quicker, more convenient, and doesn't bother the neighbors. Sachiko, though, is different. She still hangs her laundry in the sun, just like she did back in Japan. Every Monday and Friday morning, she carries a basket of clean clothes to the backyard, gently shakes out each shirt and towel, and carefully pins them to the line. She calls it her sun ceremony, not because she loves doing laundry, but because in those quiet moments, when the wind lifts the fabric and sunlight pours through the folds, she feels something deeper, as if parts of her heart, too, are being gently aired out. She once said, "Sunlight doesn't have a scent, but it holds memory. It reminds me that I'm still part of this world." One time, a younger neighbor joked, "Aren't you worried your clothes will get dusty, Sachiko-san?" She just smiled. Dust passes, sunlight stays. And it's true, every time someone visits her home, they notice something different. The blankets smell like wind. The pillows carry a hint of light. Not the scent of products, but the quiet fragrance of slow living. I want you to picture this. It's a calm weekend morning. You hang a freshly washed bedsheet out on the balcony. The morning sun rests softly on it. The breeze sways it like a whisper. You sit beside a cup of tea and suddenly realize your home is breathing clarity back into itself. Have you ever felt the difference between machine-dried and sun-dried laundry? If so, leave a comment below. And if you haven't yet, maybe this week is your time to try. Habit number 3, wiping with rice water, nourishing objects with what once nourished us. In Sachiko Mori's small kitchen, there's a white porcelain bowl that always sits next to the sink. Not for rinsing dishes, not for soaking vegetables. It's where she saves the cloudy water left over after rinsing rice for cooking. She once said, "This water nourished an entire generation of Japanese people. Why throw it away so quickly when it still has the power to care for things?" Instead of pouring it down the drain, Sachiko dips a soft cloth into the rice water and gently wipes down her wooden table, the armrests of chairs, the windowsill. Surfaces that once seemed dull slowly brighten, not because they shine, but because they've been touched with care. One day, her granddaughter asked, "Grandma, why don't you just use all-purpose cleaner? It's faster." Sachiko smiled. "This may not clean fast, but it cleans gently." She then shared how when she was a child, her mother used to wipe down an old study desk with rice water. Each time young Sachiko touched that surface, softly scented with rice, it gave her a quiet sense of comfort. As she reached that part of the story, her voice softened. "This table is older than my daughter, but it still listens when I touch it." There's something beautiful about that thought. It makes you wonder, maybe objects, too, long to be touched with love, just like people. Could it be that when we touch a wooden table, a door frame, a bookshelf with tenderness, they respond in their own quiet, enduring way? To Sachiko, rice water isn't just a natural cleaner. It's a bridge between past and present. It's a whisper that says, "I'm still here, taking care of the small corners of my life." What about you? Is there something in your home, an object, a piece of furniture that has been with your family for generations? I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Habit number 4, the morning air dance. Opening the windows to let the day in. Each morning, before the sun has fully risen, Sachiko is already awake, not because of an alarm clock, but because the soft glow of dawn reminds her, today is another chance. The first thing she does isn't making tea, and it's not checking her phone. It's walking to each window and opening them. One in the kitchen, one in the bedroom, a small one near her writing desk. She calls it the morning air dance. Cool air rushes in, carrying the damp freshness of early dew. The curtains flutter softly, like they're breathing. The space comes alive, even though no one says a word. Sachiko learned this habit from her mother, who opened windows every morning, even in the winter. Her mother once told her, "Open your windows before you open your heart." And now, Sachiko does the same, every day. Not for anyone else, just for herself. She once said, "If you keep a house closed for too long, the sad feelings get trapped inside with you. Opening the windows each morning is my way of saying, I'm still here, I'm still moving." She doesn't call it ventilation. She calls it letting the house breathe, and in doing so, she breathes too, with air, with memory, with hope. Have you ever felt your home was too quiet, too still, as if time had stopped moving? Have you ever tried simply opening 2 windows and letting the breeze pass through, and then noticed how your mood felt just a little lighter? If not, try it tomorrow morning. It doesn't take long, just 5 minutes. And if you've already done this before, share your experience in the comments. If you try it tomorrow, I hope you'll come back and tell me how your home changed just by letting the morning air in. Habit number 5. The Genkan ritual, finding poetry in the smallest space. When people step into Sachiko Mori's home, the first thing they notice isn't the scent of candles or diffusers. It's something harder to name: peace. That small space just beyond the door, where shoes are placed, a welcome mat lies, and a tiny wooden bench waits, always feels fresh, subtly citrus-scented, and quietly cared for. Nothing flashy, but clearly loved. Sachiko calls it the Genkan, the traditional Japanese entryway. But to her, it's the first greeting her home offers to the world outside. Twice a week, she wipes that little floor with warm water, sometimes adding a few drops of rice water or lemon juice. She shakes out the mat, waters the little plant, and occasionally places a small pouch of dried tea or a few orange peels on a ceramic dish in the corner. She once said, "I don't clean the entryway because someone is coming. I do it so I can feel I'm still waiting for something good." Once her daughter asked, "Mom, you still clean the Genkan every week, even if no one visits?" Sachiko just smiled and replied, "Maybe no one's coming, but my heart still wants to be ready." To her, tending to the Genkan isn't just cleaning. It's an act of hope, a quiet message to the house. I'm still here, and I still believe something beautiful may arrive. Are you keeping your entryway clean? Not for others, but for yourself? I believe that one of the ways we remember we're alive is by keeping the welcoming space of our home warm, even if no one walks through it. Tell me, have you ever felt like your home was waiting, not for someone else, but for you to step inside with more ease? And if you're wondering where to begin, start at your door. A bit of warm water, a gentle wipe, the soft scent of dried citrus. Sometimes, a small act of welcome can shift the mood of an entire day. Habit number 6. Creating a quiet scent corner. So every step past, it brings you back to yourself. In Sachiko Mori's home, there is a small, very special corner. No paintings on the wall, no lamp, just a simple wooden shelf tucked beneath the window, where the afternoon light falls softly. On it, she places a brown ceramic dish, a few dried sprigs of lavender, a smooth stone she picked up from the beach when she was 60, and one old stick of incense, her husband's favorite kind, which he used to light every morning while reading the paper. No one is allowed to tidy that space but her, because it's not for decoration. It's a sacred space, meant only for stillness. Each evening, as the sunlight begins to soften, she lights a stick of incense, not to make the house smell good, but to remind herself of who she is. She once said, "My husband passed away 5 years ago. At first, I kept this space for him, but over time, I realized I was keeping it for me, to remind myself I can still sit quietly and still be myself." Sachiko calls it her remembering corner. No elaborate rituals, just a small space where the mind is allowed to breathe. Do you have a place like that in your home? A place not meant for shoes or remotes or useful things, but simply for silence? A place where you can look at a stone or a stick of incense or a small item from long ago and quietly exhale, not from exhaustion, but because something in you has settled? Try choosing a small corner, on a bookshelf, by a window, or beside your bed. Place something there that reminds you of something that truly matters, not for others to notice, but so that each time you pass it, if only for a moment, you remember, "I'm still here, and I still deserve to slow down." Do you have a place like that already? And if not, do you believe you deserve one? If you'd like, tell me what you would place in your quiet corner. I'd love to hear. Habit number 7. Simmering a scented pot, letting the house know you're still here. Every Sunday afternoon, when time seems to slow down and the late light begins to change color, Sachiko Mori places a small pot on the stove. Not to cook, but to simmer scent. She fills it with water, then drops in a few dried orange peels, a stick of cinnamon, sometimes a bit of ginger peel, or loose tea leaves. She sets the heat low. Then she sits down at her table, sips a cup of tea, and lets the warm aroma slowly drift through the house. There's no one coming over, no special dinner to prepare, but that pot of gently steaming water is like a quiet reminder. I'm still here, and I still care for every breath of this home. She once shared, "When my children were little, they'd walk in after school and immediately say, 'Mom, it smells so good in here.' They're grown now, with homes of their own. No one says that anymore, but I still simmer, not to impress anyone, but so the house won't forget me." Sachiko doesn't need a diffuser or a reason. That pot has become her own ritual, a way to reconnect with herself, with memory, and with the walls that have quietly witnessed so much love over the years. Have you ever felt your home was too quiet, as if there was no longer a reason to create warmth for yourself? Have you ever wondered, do I deserve to create something tender, even if no one sees it? I believe you do. And I believe that a small pot, gently simmering with tea leaves, cinnamon, or citrus peel, can soften the heart like a wordless lullaby. You don't need to wait for guests to make your home feel warm. You don't need a reason to fill your space with scent, care, and a quiet acknowledgement of your presence. If there's a scent that reminds you of childhood, of someone you loved, or of a time you felt completely held and cared for, tell me in the comments. And if you try simmering a pot this week, I hope you'll come back and share. How did your home feel? And how did your heart feel? Because when we think about what it means to make a house smell good, we rarely imagine it could come from something as simple as opening a window, wiping with rice water, or hanging shirts under the sun. And yet, those are the things that breathe life back into the walls. Those are the things that say, this home is still alive. And so am I. And yet, the 7 habits that Sachiko Mori has quietly kept, from Kyoto to San Jose, don't rely on anything expensive. They don't require you to buy more. They simply ask you to return to yourself, to return to the kind of living that shows up in the smallest of acts. A small pot simmering with scent, a dish of sun-dried orange peels, an entryway cleaned like it's waiting for someone to arrive, a window opened for 5 quiet minutes each morning. A smooth stone on a bookshelf, a towel warmed by sunlight, a wooden table wiped down with rice water. None of these things will make your home perfect, but they will give it a soul. And when your home has soul, your heart begins to breathe again, softly, in every corner. Maybe no one will see you doing these things. No one will compliment your bowl of citrus peels or your quiet ritual of wiping the doorstep. But you will feel something shift, just as Sachiko did. She no longer saw her home as just a place to live, but as a companion, a friend who waits, who listens, who comforts. So if you've ever felt disconnected from where you live, if your house has ever felt silent, cold, or invisible to you, try choosing just one of these 7 habits and begin. You don't need to do them all. Just one small act, done with intention. Let your home feel that you're still here. And maybe, when someone walks in, they'll pause for a moment, take a soft breath, and smile to themselves. This place feels good. If you're still with us, thank you. Truly. Thank you for walking this entire journey with us. I'd love to hear from you. What scent reminds you of your childhood home? Or which of these habits will you try after watching this video? If this video felt gentle and meaningful to you, please share it with a friend, a loved one, or someone who's living alone and may need a new breeze in their heart. This is Senior Rise, where we slow down together, live lighter, and live more deeply, one habit at a time. See you in the next video.